everyone. Welcome back to the Arcane Duels League Season 2. I am here again with Zot. Hello, Zot.
Hello.
We are watching a game between SirJasonCrage as the Arraxian Crown Warlock, his choice mage, I believe, in the upper left, and knabbmaster, his Necromancer, which is also his choice mage, in the lower right. What do you think of this matchup?
Economy coming out for both mages, and dark versus dark's always rough. The curses from the warlock has to be judicious on which ones that he chooses because the necro being poison immune, and the amulet coming out. So I'm wondering if the necro is going to go ritual fest with the meditation amulet followed by the ritual cowlek on an unstable zombie or perhaps skeletons. We'll see.
Yeah. You know what I've always wanted to try, because the way this league is set up for the umpteenth time is that you know which mage you're going to be fighting against when you build your book. So I've always wanted to try using Meridia's Blessing against the Necromancer as somebody who wouldn't normally use it, right? Like in a normal situation, pretty much only the druid's going to run Meridia's Blessing. But in this situation, it will be like the Warlock right now with his 2 mana flowers has the advantage of Meridia's Blessing right there, because the Necromancer is not going to have 2 living objects at all. So I'd be interested in seeing if that works. Graveyard versus Battleforge.
Yep.
And we see a skeletal knight there. What are you thinking?
Knowing that he's facing a necro, he's probably going to have a fair bundle of non-living on the warlock side too. And interestingly enough, spawning a brute right out of the gate's pretty good.
Seems pretty standard.
Yeah. Given that the warlock is somewhat melee centric with his melee +1 and has the awesome lash of fire, he's got some benefits against some of the non-living resilient creatures where if you can land burns on them, that's direct damage.
Yep, burns are very helpful. It's true.
Oh, wow, Brutefest. Interesting. So we're not seeing ritual cheese out of knabbmaster, so that's awesome so far.
I wonder, so you tend to lurk on Octagon and watch games, right?
I do when I can. Yep.
Okay. How much ritual have you been seeing on Octagon?
Oh, that's hard to say. Oh, wow. Ritual cheese out of the Warlock. Yep, it's got Mort. So we're going to see ritual cheese out of the Warlock, and he'll ramp up probably a skeleton horde. Rituals, it depends on the nature of the conflict, because sometimes folks are playing casual matches, and so I don't see quite that much on the Octagon for ritual. I think people see that it's a little cheesy, and they may not play it much unless they're wanting to test something out.
So I've seen that a lot of people will opt not to run Wall of Thorns Force Push or a lot of Mage Wands on Octagon just as an unspoken rule, and not like go hardcore survival druid kind of as an unspoken rule. But when tournament time comes around, I see that stuff come out because it's arguably the right way to go.
It's a way to go, yeah. And I could see your point because, in casual games or even, kind of offline, not necessarily hardcore competition games, you don't necessarily want to do those things. And you want to play other matches because you like other mages or other strategies, or you just want to, knock out an interesting thematic game or what have you. And looks like the Necro spawning brute after brute after brute. It's pretty strong.
So the Necromancer is getting 14 mana a turn with the meditate action, and the Warlock is getting 13 mana a turn with the Battleforge And
That's right, because the 10 channeling for the Warlock with this season's rule.
yep. Yep. So the Necromancer has a slight advantage mana generation wise here. But and they've both got an action generator, so
Right.
I don't know. It looks kind of even at this point. I mean, 3
It
brutes
does.
versus a mort and a skeletal knight. I'd give it to the brutes probably,
A little bit,
but
yeah.
it'd be close because the knight has a dodge, mort has some
Regeneration.
regenerate.
And they're not pests, so they can guard.
That's true. They all can guard.
That's correct.
So Necromancer choosing to use his actions to put on armor, and the Warlock choosing to use the Battle Forge for the armoring up.
Yep.
And hasn't done a whole lot with his actions yet. He got a couple enchants on him there.
I'm going to guess melee buffs.
I'm gonna guess defense.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I'm not gonna hover over knabbmaster's cards because we will be able to know what they are.
Okay. So it looks like they're kind of holding off from each other. So that's going to imply potentially a longer game. And the Warlock's wanting to get value out of his Battle Forge, so he's going to suck it dry. And the zombie horde slowly beginning to advance.
Yeah, this is the kind of situation where a well-timed Mage Bane or Ghoul Rot on the Warlock to just get him a little bit bloody, and then a teleport and mauling seems like would be what happens. Especially in these creature matchups where you're just trying to get the big stuff out, right?
Oh, did he just back that brute up?
Yeah, he sure did. He backed that.
Interesting. So I'm going to guess a Idol of Pestilence maybe in that zone.
Another Skeletal Knight.
Yeah. And knabbmaster does have 12, 12 mana. If he does something like that, he'll force the Warlock to do something about it.
Right, yeah, I don't even need a Mage Bane to start getting the damage on. Just Idol of Pestilence will work, and you've got a corner for that.
Yep.
Well, it looks like he didn't do it this turn.
Nope. So... so Mort's going to be doing the regeneration on the skeletons with
the taint is going to be
reconstruct.
worthless, though.
True, but he didn't bring Mort out for the taint, knowing that he was going to be facing the Warlock or the Necro. So he brought it out for the ability to heal skeletal in the zone.
Yep.
And we see that the leather helmet come out for the Warlock, which is a promo card, which is legal in this event.
Mm-hmm. Those of you paying attention realize that knabbmaster put Idol of Pestilence back in his book from last round. So he was thinking about it.
Oh, was he? Nice.
Yeah. Whoops, that was me. There we go. The Warlock only has 1 armor on right now. Necromancer has 3.
Well, he's not really threatened yet either, so...
It doesn't take long. That's
true.
Also why I think he's got defensive enchantments on.
Right. Having seen the 3 brutes, it could be a thing where he's like, we'll just try not to get ported over.
Wow. There's a lot of big creatures.
It is. And we haven't seen another ritual out of the Warlock, have we?
No, just 1, I think.
Now, it's interesting that the Necro is retreating.
Well, I think in a straight-up fight with no interference, the skeletons backed by Mort will destroy the zombies. There's the Idol of Pestilence.
And he's created a gauntlet for the Warlock to have to get through in order to get to the idol.
Yep. This is the point where, as the Warlock, I would put on the Demon Hide mask and run to an meteor.
Well, he could also just as easily put on a regeneration belt or something like that and force the Necro to bring out the Deathlock early so that he might also be able to get rid of both of them.
It's true.
So he could ignore the idol if he has a regeneration ability. The zombie minions for the Necro, very efficient creature for its mana cost.
Yeah, the only thing more efficient is a Thorn Lasher.
Right.
I don't even know if that counts as more efficient.
Well, because this essentially has 14 hit points, right?
Yeah, and 4 dice when you're doing it right.
Right.
Doesn't have the regenerate too, though. So
right. So the pest and
Thorn
the
Lasher
range
has
attack.
11 health and regen too. So
right. Well, the Thorn Lasher's probably a touch better than. But then again, everything hits it. So.
Well, this is kind of slow and kind of boring so far.
Yeah, a little bit. They're playing for the long game, it looks like. In the long game, it's hard to say who wins the long game in general.
At this point, it looks like the Necromancer's poised better. Because
a little bit. He's got extra creatures.
He's got the graveyard, so when creatures start dying, he's going to get more creature actions.
Right.
And the Warlock is not going to be able to keep up with all of it.
Oh, Brute coming out for the Warlock.
And the Necromancer has 3 armor on and the ticking bomb of the Demon or the Idol of Pestilence.
Okay, so Leather Belt comes out for the Warlock.
All right, 3 armor to 3 armor.
Sure, which means that one of those enchantments is probably regrowth.
All right, we got a Cloak of Shadows too, keeping the Necromancer nice and safe.
And by pulling things in the corner like this for the Necromancer, he's going to pull the Warlock away from that Battle Forge at some point.
I'm very surprised that Sir Jason has not revealed a regrowth at this point.
He's only taken 1 damage.
He should be taking 2 at this point.
He should have.
Yeah.
They're still in upkeep, probably.
Yeah, they're still in upkeep. They're planning during upkeep.
Right. So he theoretically should reveal it now.
Yep.
Okay, they just went past, so he's at 2 damage now. Yes, because he'll want to keep it so that he's not damaged during upkeep. And it looks like he did not reveal the enchantment, so he's going to always be at 1 damage at this point, unless he can find a way around that. There's the last brute for the Necro. Yep.
He's only taking 1 damage a turn. If he's healing 2 a turn.
Oh, that's true. My mistake. Mental fart. So.
Now, if the Necromancer plays Deathlock this turn, then yes, he's always going to be at some damage.
So he played a Leather Belt and then deployed a
yeah, he replaced his Leather Belt with his regen belt there. That might have been a mistake.
Right. Maybe prepped the wrong card on it, meaning to play the regen. I think you're right that in the long run, the Necromancer might have an advantage because of the graveyard getting the free mana. But if they hold off from each other long enough, they've already deployed all their creatures. So the graveyard may not have that much value because there's nothing to deploy out of it. Did he make any? Okay, he made one of the brutes a Eternal Servant.
Mm-hmm.
And Sir Jason starting to advance with his undead. So he's probably going to start advancing the Warlock because he's going to expect the Deathlock to start coming out at some point.
All right. So you're sitting in the position of Sir Jason. What are you thinking you need to do to win this game?
Well, he could almost do the same thing in reverse. He could also try porting the Necromancer to his side of the board as well.
The Necromancer is wearing a Cloak of Shadows.
Yes, which means he's going to have to get dirty in order to do it, which is going to be very tough. This is going to be a rough match regardless, because zombie brutes are one of the best creatures in the game. And they're going to be tough to deal with, even with the creatures. Because the Necromancer's not going to just let you come in and wail on them. There we go.
Interesting.
What could that be? Agony?
Yep. Could be Agony.
There's the Deathlock,
yep.
As expected. So he anticipated the Deathlock coming out, and he's going to move up one more zone, and heck, all he has to do is move one zone to the right, and then it's in fireball range. But I would think that knabbmaster might throw up a wall of bone or something to block line of sight.
That's true. He might.
So that would be my guess. He'll prep a wall of bone for this next turn. Right there is that first prep. Wall of bone. Whose initiative is it? It looks like red. So it'll be Sir Jason's initiative, it looks like.
Yeah. And this is where, if I were Sir Jason, I would deploy the Demon Hide Mask to get the Piercing 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
Reveal the Hawkeye, reveal the Akiro's Favor if necessary, and just meteor that thing.
Or, right, he may want his own Cloak of Shadows so that the Necro can't do stuff to him too.
That's true. That would be a
because
nice
if he he moves over one, then he's going to entice the Necro to move 2 spaces in order to see him, which probably won't happen. However, a wall coming out would be annoying.
Yep, it sure would.
But with the idol or the Deathlock coming out, he's going to leave Jason damaged so that I can hear myself, by the way. He's going to leave himself damaged so that that'll trigger the Bloodthirsty on all the zombies.
Yep. Well, I mean, I guess it wouldn't really matter because he would be at 1 damage this turn, even if he had gotten his ring out or his belt out earlier.
Mm-hmm. So we see the fire ring coming out as expected. So we're going to see a fireball potentially. Depending on what's going to happen with the Necromancer. Ooh. Okay, he's going to do it slowly and wait out the Necro potentially so he can get an attack off on the Deathlock without necessarily having the Necromancer do anything to him.
So the Necromancer, if the Necromancer has Teleport and Pillar of Righteous Flame this turn, that Warlock could be really, really damaged by the end of this round. Because if he's anticipating the Warlock moves up 1 to Fireball or whatever, the Deathlock. That could be really dangerous. And that is why Cloak of Shadows would be a good play here.
Yep. Sharky in our Gen Con match in the final match used the Cloak of Shadows to excellent effect. His quality of tactical play during that game was really strong, and the reason why he ended up winning.
Shark's a pretty good player.
He gets lucky once in a while, sure.
Spoken like a true opponent.
Yep. So
That could be enfeeble, couldn't it? Could be enfeeble on the brute.
it could. Yeah, that's not a poison enchant. It is a poison enchant, I think.
Is it?
No, it is not. No, it's not. You're correct. It could. Maybe. I would guess agony instead.
Agony seems like a good choice. Because it works on anything. For some strange reason.
Yeah. And I don't know why a zombie would feel pain, so to speak, and deal less dice, but apparently they can feel pain.
Yeah.
Oh, the Necromancer moving up.
Double move.
And,
and
there it is. So that's pretty ugly. Given that the skeletons are not bloodthirsty, they're not going to necessarily be locked in that zone.
Well,
but what he has to work.
Mort's going to get an attack next round.
Right. Well,
and probably going to get an attack from a brute this round.
Sure.
It must be agonies.
That's what I'm guessing. Or chains of agony.
Chains of agony would work. It's agony. Okay.
Yep. So here's the thing. Given the location of the pillar and the fact that the skeletons might choose to advance into the next zone, the Necromancer could step to the right one and force wave them back in.
Yep.
So he has to be very careful with this tactical play here. And they'll get revealed on the next agony if he has the mana. Yep.
Jeez.
So he's trying to get the healer down and out of the game.
It's a good move.
Yep.
Tactically sound.
Mm-hmm.
2 damage bout on that brute. And this is where knabbmaster being able to move last with whatever he wants to is going to be really good.
Yep. Because he outnumbers on creatures.
Is very nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the pillar discussion that's going on the forum right now is quite interesting.
It is a very strong card, and so far the pillar has done
6
dice. 5 damage. 6 dice, 5 damage.
Right.
It is likely to kill Mort during the upkeep.
Right. So I am in the camp where I think if you took away the enters the zone effect of the card and left everything else alone, it'd probably be pretty awesome. You may not see as much play as it does now, but it still could be because you're going to do 24 dice if you can lock something in a zone for over 4 rounds if you get the undead. Because right now you're seeing the maximum effectiveness, more or less, of a strong pillar play, where it's going to potentially affect multiple creatures over several rounds. And the reason for that is the enter the zone attack that they'll get for free, which I would expect at some point we're going to see at least 1 or 2 of those attacks over the next few rounds.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if the Necromancer had a force push or a teleport right now.
Correct.
Just for the Warlock.
Right. So right now the pillar is going to get more than likely 24 dice for 9 mana quick cast. That's really strong. Okay.
Yeah,
so
I don't really think it needed +2 versus non-living or ethereal.
Right.
I mean, it's fire.
Right.
Fire doesn't generally have ethereal.
It's a light attack, and all the light attacks are ethereal.
Yeah, well.
It didn't have to be. It could have been fire.
Because they put it on everything.
Right.
And that is what happens when you game design based off of theme rather than off of balance.
Well, you can do that. You can do both. You just have to be very diligent about how you handle it. Now, there's a discussion back some months ago where incorporeal objects, they were talking about redesigning or not redesigning, putting a rule into place where incorporeal creatures only need ones to hit, right? Only ones hit them.
Right.
So what they were going to do, instead of having ethereal attacks do full dice, was only 2s work instead of 1s on incorporeal creatures. So it's twice as effective as a not ethereal attack. So that would possibly increase the value of the incorporeal creatures and decrease the effectiveness of the ethereal attacks, since the prevalence of ethereal attacks makes playing incorporeal creatures so less desirable. And that was a way to possibly look at balancing things without doing a bunch of changing of and redesign of a bunch of cards and such. So just changing the rule to where ethereal attacks, instead of doing full dice, only 2s count. And so it's twice as effective as a normal attack, which seemed pretty reasonable. Oh, what do we got here? Possibly a poison blood.
Magebane? Probably a check
Magebane.
for nullify.
Right. Could even be a Chains of Agony himself, because he knows that Warlock's going to be moving around some.
Man. I kind of feel like Jason's rolling 50% damage here, and knabbmaster's rolling about 110.
Mm-hmm. Ooh. And here comes the first of the semi-free attacks. I mean, it did cost him 2 mana or 3 mana.
Might as well try and dodge this.
Yep. For 6 dice,
and
absolutely.
Of course it fails.
Right.
Only 3 damage though. It's not too bad.
Yep.
Pierce 1 on the zombie, but only 2 dice. Skeletal Knight should hit back for a lot of damage, but only gets 2. 2 is about slightly under average.
If it wasn't for Pillar here, it'd be a fairly epic slugfest. And, something where a simple mistake is going to...
Nice.
Yep.
That was a good play.
Fire Ooh, interesting. And that will get ported into the Pillar Zone next.
Probably.
And it'll eat 6 dice. Or is that non-living? Yep. So there's 6 straight up dice. He'll be half dead.
The burn chance, though, it might be worth it for the burn chance.
To port it?
Of course, on 6 dice, he could roll 12 damage.
Right.
So.
That's why I estimated it'll be half dead by the end of next round. Has the Necro got another move left or another action left? No, he's already done.
Okay. No, I moved a zombie or something.
Okay, so now, because of good tactical play by Sir Jason, there's no attack for him to make with the Pillar this round.
Yep.
Very nice.
This is the point at which, if I were Sir Jason, I would quick cast a
wall. Yep, absolutely. And here's another thing. Well, and because he didn't advance on the Necromancer, his play didn't allow the Necromancer to do a mass push of things into the zone, 1 or 2 creatures or 3 or 4, depending on.
Yeah, he went south instead.
He went south
trying to pick these brutes off before they overwhelm him.
Right. So.
But he's not rolling very much damage here.
Right. Resilient being particularly annoying. And Jason's still within range of his Battle Forge.
That might be one reason why he did not Cloak of Shadows.
Could be. But Deathlock notwithstanding, he's within range to be able to do something about the idol.
It is a Magebane, though.
Mm-hmm. So we have 12 mana for Sir Jason and 16 mana for Knabbmaster. Knabbmaster having access to Drained Soul, which would be effective against his opponent here. Whereas the reversed is not true.
He would not gain life, though, if he Drained Souled.
Well, not with the Deathlock out, but if he gets him within 6, boom.
Yep.
And we have 9 damage on the Necromancer, or on the Warlock, and nothing on the Necromancer as yet.
Fire Shapering has not been useful yet.
No, but I imagine it will be at some point. It's more man or armor.
Man, look at all that leather.
Yep.
So much leather.
So he's got 4 armor now. Necromancer has 3.
I think one of the things I'm going to propose for the next league session is ban leather.
Force people to make some opportunity costs.
Yeah. Obviously, we probably have to do something about pillar, too.
Interesting. He backs off. Not sure that's... I mean, he's trying to avoid having the Necromancer do something to him. But he
dispels the Magebane. Okay.
Yep.
Well, now he's only in range of 1 zombie, right? And my guess... That's dangerous.
He just did a reconstruct. Yes. Now that he's used both actions.
Yeah, now he can be put into that pillar zone and mauled.
Correct. And if he walks in there to have something guard, they'll get mauled. First, a 4-die attack. A parting gift.
I don't think I would have done that. I think I would have moved and skeletal resurgenced or whatever, reassembled, and then saved a lesser teleport for myself.
Mm-hmm.
Just ignore the Magebane until the pillar's gone, then get rid of the
Right.
Magebane.
Right.
Hey, there's 4 damage, though. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think he's thinking he's going to back up or something.
Perhaps.
A Necromancer needs to move if he's going to... Or I guess he could move a zombie minion back. That would be fine. Yeah, he's going to move in and teleport. Yeah. Oh, it's an enchantment. Interesting.
Marked for death, perhaps?
Hey, look at that. A dead zombie brute. Never saw it would happen.
And he gets to put
agony
that back in his...
Now he can put it on the next brute.
Curse weaving.
Yep.
And he still has a brute down south here to activate. Still, he's taken 14 out of his 38 damage.
Here comes
and here it comes.
Yep.
All right.
That is 3 zombie brutes and 2 minions coming to hit him.
Yep.
Ouch.
Now, one can make the argument that he did spend 6 mana and 4 spellbook points to make that happen. But essentially, he got another 4-die attack out of it. And, brace, there you go.
That's a good one.
But he also has the fact that he'll take it again during the next upkeep.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It hurts so bad.
All those crits.
I mean, he blocked a lot with the armor too, so.
Right.
Kudos to Jason for having armor on for this.
Absolutely. And we still have a lot of zombies yet to activate.
Oh,
and here we go. Free attack.
Good grief. And the knights have not dodged anything. No days, though, so that's good.
So he's going to guard.
And then he's just going to pop it with the minions.
Zombie minion. Yeah.
So I don't know if it was worth it. I guess he's saving 4 dice off his mage, but...
Right. And it'll be the Necromancer's, knabbmaster's initiative next round.
4 damage on the zombie minion. That's pretty good.
That is really good. And here comes the brute coming in to guard.
Yep.
And there's another 6-die attack.
Ouch. Good grief.
Yeah, that's rough.
Oh. Yep.
Can't guard.
Knabbmaster doesn't have any damage.
No, that's correct. So he didn't realize that he had no damage.
You got no damage. There you go. We figured it out.
Yep. Koshade lets him know. Yep.
This could kill this brute.
Yep, I was about to say.
Gosh, that's terrible.
2 more damage. Wow. That's insane. And now another 6-die attack, and this is why the enter the zone damage is just ridiculous. He's gotten 18 dice for free, and yet Pillar's not balanced. I don't understand that mentality, but here you go. Yeah, it's a strong card. Yeah, it's really interesting and skillful, but at the same time, 18 free dice for a 9-mana spell? Don't think so, guys. Now, you could argue that he didn't have to bring those in, but yes, he did. He had to in order to keep his mage from dying faster. But I think Jason made a mistake when he used both his actions. But next round, we'll probably see a Ring of Fire or something like that.
The damage barrier is critical damage, though, right? No,
most of them are.
It's just fire damage.
It's unavoidable.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, most of the damage barriers are not.
Well, let's
critical.
see. He took what, 9 damage because of all those.
Yep. He's at 23 out of 38.
Okay.
Yep. And then here comes another 4-die attack during upkeep. He's going after the, yep.
Oh my gosh. That's insane.
Wow. The rolls are not, that's just rough. One of the things that I've seen proposed as a potential test, well, and it would, in this case, it wouldn't matter, but is a reroll token. You get 3 tokens for the game or something like that, where whenever you roll attack dice, you can spend a token and re-roll the attack dice, whether it's for a heal or for an attack or something along those lines. Anytime you're rolling attack dice, you can spend a re-roll token and a chance to, for say in this case, Sir Jason, having gotten so bad rolls, it may have had a few places where he may have wanted to spend a token to re-roll his dice. Whereas knabbmaster wouldn't have used any because he's just been rolling pretty awesome.
Right.
But the high rolls, I think, are Not necessarily why he's winning the game, but it's definitely made a huge contribution. But the tactics with the pillar have really helped him out.
Yeah, I think if Jason had not bothered with dispelling the Mage Bane and instead had done the heal on the skeleton and then the...
I would rather have seen him move to the right and go after the Deathlock.
Just count the skeleton as lost?
Yeah, absolutely. He could have moved everything further to the right and forced the Necro to do the teleports. And here we go, blatant some of the armor now.
Wow. Just exactly what you needed.
Yeah, this is a rough match for Sir Jason. And I know how much he loves Pillar.
It's his favorite card.
Mm-hmm. And there's the Agony. And the Agony.
I mean, Agony is a really good idea against zombie brutes.
It absolutely
Agony
is.
and armor, that was an amazing choice.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. But he went and used all of his actions again, right?
Right. Well, at some point that's going to be the case because he's out action. But because of the pillar, killing off all his creatures practically, he really had to do something.
He gets a kill.
Yeah. It's 4 dice his mage won't take. Unfortunately, his skeletal knights are way out of the battle.
Yep.
And another 2 damage.
2 damage.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I think what he should have done is had single-minded focus on getting rid of the Deathlock at a minimum so that he could try to have the ability to get back out of this. But that's easier said than done when you got the Necromancer with all these zombies spread across the board.
Yeah, this could be it if the burn rolls.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know the best tactics here.
No, the burn doesn't roll.
That's a rough game.
No, he does.
Yep. Either that or he conceded. Nope, the Ghoul Rot got him.
No, he was at 35.
Oh.
Oh, and Idle.
Right.
Ghoul Rot and Idle. That's what it was.
Yep. Ooh. I'm not sure the best way to have approached this. I mean, it looked like he had a decent plan, but you see the strength of the zombies. They're just pretty ridiculous. And the strength of the pillar.
Could have been a couple things that were done there. I'm not saying that Pillar didn't do a ridiculous amount of work that game, but having more movement spells than your enemy has always been something that I've prioritized.
Mm-hmm.
If you can manipulate the battlefield more than your enemy can, you can pull out ahead. So just having a few turns where you choose to get whatever gets ganked into the pillar back out again, then you only take 1 attack, right?
Right.
So
yeah, the interesting thing is for this these latest online events that you've had where you know your opponent mage going in is really interesting because then you can see, okay, what does each player think about the other person's potential build and how do they approach the game? You see that Knabbmaster says I don't really. His approach would have been pretty much the same regardless of what he played against. But
well, that's the Necromancer. I mean,
that's the Necromancer.
You've got one build at this point, and that's part of the problem with Zombie Brute, right? They're just so good that the Necromancer just uses the Zombie Brute. And Pillar, or not Pillar, but yeah, Pillar in general, anybody will use it. It's just, and then the Deathlock Idol of Pestilence thing.
That combo is really strong.
Classic Necromancer.
Yep.
So they have to come to you. Your brutes have damage on their target already. You just kill them up, and you have to, as the opposing mage, you have to deal with all of that at once. All the while, the graveyard's pumping things out, and the Necromancer's just standing there meditating.
What if the idol did not do poison damage?
Yeah, well, then it wouldn't be the Idol of Pestilence, right?
Yes.
If it was just if it did just
or
generic
the Necromancer
damage,
wasn't immune to poison.
Yeah, I mean, that would work too. If the Necromancer wasn't used for immune to poison, then very few people would play Idol of Pestilence early on, right?
Right.
So
it'd be increased to a stronger skill card of when to play something like that, or which matchups. Obviously, if you're going to play against a Beastmaster and they're swarming, then pretty stellar play. But yeah, I don't know. I've always been unhappy with the fact that the Necromancer is immune to poison.
I am very interested to see somebody run Mordok's Obelisk in a game like this. Just wait until they get 5 creatures out and drop Mordok's Obelisk, and then just sit back and
destroy them as they come over.
Yeah, just destroy them as they come. You can save up money for a tsunami. Just tsunami them back, right? And then they have to either die to upkeep or spend their time coming back.
But they don't have to. They just drop the idol and the Deathlock and make you come to them too.
That's fine. If you can kill the Deathlock, then you're fine.
Yep. It might have been interesting regardless, but it would have been ridiculously expensive. What if the Warlock had put in Dorceus expecting the Deathlock?
That would have been good. I mean, there are a bunch of different ways. I think if you know that you're fighting a Necromancer, you just have to build a different book.
Yes.
And the way that Jason built this book,
he was going to fight fire with fire. Zombies with zombies,
worked, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
He didn't want his creatures to die to the idol, so he chose non-living. And he also put on a ton of armor, right?
Expecting to get damage.
He chose creatures that wouldn't trigger zombie brutes,
right?
And he also chose to deal with the zombie brutes using tar traps and
zombie brutes and agony, right?
And that's a great plan. The problem was he misplayed against the pillar,
right?
And the pillar just rolled too well,
right?
Which you could argue it happens all the time.
Right. Well, he lost creatures as a result of playing the pillar.
Right. I mean, if he could focus his army on this is why I would love to see if there's a way to do a ranged book. Because if you could focus fire those things before they got to you and then hit them with something that was large and melee centric, I don't know. That way you don't have to muck in there with it. But he chose to muck in there with it and had more to back his creatures up, right? And he had reassembles to back his creatures up.
What if he had a astral anchor and dumped it into the pillar zone?
That would have worked. He would have had to prep
more
force pushes than lesser teleports, but
but I meant the Warlock expecting a pillar at some point plays astral anchor and then he just runs away, where the Necromancer can't port him back in unless he gets rid of that. Meanwhile, chargers are getting dropped off of the pillar via dissipate, then maybe he might get off an attack or two against these conjurations. Of course, it's easy to judge this in hindsight. So,
yeah, I mean, it's good to talk about what things could possibly work against a pillar.
Well, a wall would have done some good, except the teleport moves him onto the other side.
It's you have to spend so much mana to fight the pillar.
Right. You know, if he'd had a wall and extended it, made an L, a reverse L out of that.
Yeah.
That might have done it too. Here. Yeah, exactly. That might have worked too.
Yep. That would have worked. Then the Necromancer couldn't have seen to teleport anything.
Right.
Let's see, he had... How much mana did he have that turn? He dispelled the Magebane and he reassembled. So he had 9?
4? Yeah, that's 9 probably.
He had at least 9.
Yeah.
And you'd need 13 in order to do double bone wall there.
Right. Yep. Or, 6 and move. The Astral Anchor is 4 and 2 and 4, and then he just moves away.
Yeah, he couldn't move away with everything though. So Force Push would have gotten something in there.
Okay, but then you keep rushing things over. You can only Force Push one of them if they all keep moving, because they're skeletons. They are not bloodthirsty. They can move over and start attacking the idol with attacks, and he can go up and attack the Deathlock while they're attacking the idol, perhaps. Because they could have, they wouldn't necessarily have been able to double move because there was a brute in there. But I think he focused on taking out a brute rather than trying to survive these several rounds while the pillar was active.
Yep.
And given how much damage he had on his mage, he should have been alarmed. I mean, he tried to back up, but then again, that's why the Necromancer had at least 2 teleports.
Yeah, anybody who puts pillar in their book is going to have at least 2 teleports.
I disagree with that assessment, but still, I understand why you say it.
You got to be ready for it, though. They're going
to absolutely.
They're going to have 2 to 4 ways to put you back in the pillar.
Absolutely. Heck, you could have even run a Thorn Lasher and snatched you into it. Interesting.
Well, that was a game.
Yep.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thanks for the analysis, Mr. Zat.
You're more than welcome.
And we'll see you guys all in the next one.
Yep. Good luck to all the competitors remaining.